I'm Manuel Hernandez and welcome to Norwich City Central.
Hello everybody, Lewis, Norwich City Central. Hope you're all doing well. I'm sure if you kind of didn't watch the Norwich-Watford game, you'd probably be doing a lot better. But welcome to a match preview and a predicted XI on the channel. And this is going to be a really interesting game, and it's one of those games where I've got no clue what's going to happen, which is going to be really interesting. Of course, Norwich versus Liverpool Tuesday night on TV. And what I'm really actually going to enjoy about this game is the fact that it's a sellout for a cup game, which is absolutely brilliant. Third round of the cup sellout, that's great. And you know, it's going to be a real opportunity for a lot of families and people who don't go to games to come to Carrow Road. And you know, the prices are affordable. I think it's only £1 for under 18s. Carrow Road's going to be packed out. It's a real opportunity for families to go and see a really good team. So that's exciting. I'm not sure what the atmosphere is going to be like, but yeah, it's a good opportunity that this third round cup game to get to the last 16, and it's going to be a really interesting one. Of course, we know Liverpool are going really well in the Premier League. Liverpool are going to finish with probably 90 plus points. Van Dijk's come in and Liverpool look much like their old selves. Van Dijk's come in and been electric. You know, Trent's coming in. It's just the Liverpool team that we know of 2 or 3 years ago. And of course, Salah is scoring the goals, and Jota is as well, and they just look like a really good team. We played Liverpool early on in the season at Carrow Road. That was a 3-0 defeat. There were some encouraging signs. There was a few decent moments in that game, but Liverpool's were just too strong. It was, you know, some of the best players in the Premier League, but they're not going to play. We know Jurgen Klopp almost disrespects the cup in many ways. Doesn't really show that much sporting integrity when it comes to the cups. Completely fields a different team. A couple of years ago, or last season, I think they got knocked out to Chelsea, and they played an entirely different 11. And yeah, that is going to be interesting because there's going to be no Virgil van Dijk. There's not going to be, you know, Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, Jota. You know, you're probably going to see the likes of Divock Origi start up front for Liverpool. And then in midfield, it's going to be the likes of Curtis Jones, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. And then in defence, you know, it's probably going to be maybe someone like Nico Williams or, you know, Adrian in goal. So there's going to be a lot of changes. I can't see Salah or Van Dijk even making the bench. And that offers a real opportunity. I think Liverpool will still go in as favourites, of course, but not playing their best team. You know, it could be a bit disjointed, and it could be a real opportunity for Norwich City to go ahead. And that's all you can say on Liverpool at the moment. You can talk about their playing style, but when there's such, you know, when you've got a completely different XI, it's going to be really hard to know what kind of Liverpool team are going to come and what to expect. I think the player to look out for, though, is Curtis Jones, who's someone I think is really good. You know, he's got that physicality, loves a shot, so he's probably the danger man for Liverpool in this game. But looking from a Norwich City perspective, it's been a fascinating start to the season, and it's been one which I think has been met with a lot of negativity, and you can see why. I think the first few games, obviously there were some difficult opponents, but the Watford game was the real sucker punch, because although there was a couple of fleeting moments in it, it really was disjointed, it was messy. And no disrespect to Watford, they're one of the worst teams in the division. And I mean that with no, you know, we're showing no respect. And if you can't beat Watford, then you've got to think where these points are coming from. And Norwich City haven't put probably even a good 45 minutes together yet in the Premier League, which is a slight concern. Maybe possibly against Arsenal, but you know, that's it. But this cup game offers a new opportunity. And yeah, just the Watford game was an absolute mess, particularly defensively. And you know, we've got problems going forward. We haven't really created too many clear-cut opportunities. And defensively, every time a team comes forward, we look like we're going to concede. And that is not what you want to have. But the goals against Watford were absolutely abysmal. And I've watched it back, and they get worse and worse. No one closing down the cross on the first one. The second one, of course, just horrendous defending from the counter-attack, and the third one, Kenny McLean mistake. Just so many collective errors, and Daniel Farke's press conference was blunt about that, and it's nice to see. You know, Daniel Farke just came out and said we were very self-critical of our defending, and we weren't good enough, and our defending was terrible. You know, that's what you want to hear, because if you don't own up to the realism of the situation, then you're not going to improve, and that's why I was a bit disappointed with Farke's comments about, you know, he never really got too aggravated about the TalkSport stuff and some of the kind of pundits, but got really aggravated with some fan opinions. And the fans for the whole season have been with the crowd at Carrow Road, but you can't be going out and singling fans. And, you know, I think the fans had a lot of point to say, you know, with some of the performance and some of that defending. So, yeah, It's a really weird one, but of course we won 6-0 in the Cup, and that was with a 4-3-3 formation, and look, Bournemouth were terrible. So yeah, there's an opportunity to grow. I think Daniel Farke is going to stick with the 4-3-3, but for me, I just want to see us go back to the 4-2-3-1. It's what the players know. It's what gets the best out of the system. It gets out of the creativity. And you look at our 4-3-3 formation at the moment, when you've got Billy McLean as a right centre mid and Kenny McLean as a left centre mid, it just doesn't work. I mean, in that Watford game, the wingers Dennis and Sarr were just by the byline, and it left gaps in the middle. Players weren't coming out to cross them. Max Evans was literally left by himself on many occasions, and it was just really disjointed, and that's what worried me. But as I said, this Liverpool game in the Cup now offers an opportunity to install some confidence, and that's what you need. And going into this game, that's what I want. I want a good performance over a good result, and I want to see signs going forward for the big game against Saturday at Everton that we look more resilient defensively, and just an identity. That's fundamental to what you want. You would just want to see a team defend decently, and a bit of an identity going forward, a bit of a game plan, because at the moment it's so disjointed and really messy. But yeah, Liverpool are going to be disjointed in this game as well, I expect, with a new 11, so it'll be an interesting one. In terms of the predicted XI, Angus Gunn in goal. The Cup opposite. Look, it's an interesting one in terms of what Daniel Farke is going to do. In his press conference, he said he's going to make a number of changes. That's probably a good thing as well. I think you want to try and get a balance between making a number of changes, but also trying to get a team together who can gel. I obviously want to see us play the 4-2-3-1, but I think Farke is going to stick with the 4-3-3. The 4-3-3 could work, but definitely not in its current format. But Angus Gunn in goal, back four is Giannoulis, Ben Gibson, Andrew Omobamidele and Max Aarons. Giannoulis and Ben Gibson, let's not forget, we spent £14-15 million on them as combined. And Giannoulis, I don't know what he's done wrong. Had a man-of-the-match performance against Liverpool, poor game against Man City, like a lot of them. But to be dropped, I think, is very harsh on him. And same for Ben Gibson as well. I argued in the NCC show, the podcast I do with Ducker, go check it out if you haven't seen it, that Ben Gibson's probably better suited in the Premier League than Grant Hanley. And I want to see Ben Gibson get an opportunity. Omobamidele was excellent against Arsenal, deserves an opportunity to play in the Cup game, and Max Aarons to stay in the team. That midfield three is going to be really interesting. I want to see Sorensen get given a go. I just think that in balance, you need a central defensive midfielder, and Sorensen can do that and was excellent in the Championship, deserves an opportunity. Lucas Rupp to come in, I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah, Lucas Rupp's been seen as a little bit of a scapegoat at times, but his performances in the Premier League probably haven't been up to scratch. But to be honest, a lot of them haven't been up to scratch, but I think he deserves an opportunity in the Cup. And Pierre-Lise Malou, really excited to see him. I'm sure he's going to come back into the side after his illness. And yeah, I think he could be the real gem. I think he's what we need to do going forward, playing him, because he offers that physicality. He's got that all-round experience, and he's a really good all-round player. But to be honest, and this is what I've said, it doesn't matter who we have in the starting lineup. It doesn't matter if it's Kabak, Omobamidele at the back. It doesn't matter if it's Billy Gilmore, Kenny McLean. It doesn't matter if it's Cantwell or Zulis. For me, the system needs changing, and we need a clear identity. And if you don't change that, it's not going to work. But so I want to see us play the 4-2-3-1 because of it, but I do think Farke will stick with the 4-3-3. And also, who else do I think is going to play in this one? Cantwell is out due to personal reasons, so Zolis on the left, Kieran Dow as that kind of inverted right winger. Good opportunity for him after, and he's going to need opportunities as well, because I don't know how many he's going to get in the Premier League. Didn't even make the bench. Zolis, so excited to see this guy's going to be the real gem, and I just want Farke to find a system where we can play him, because I think he's going to be the next big thing. And Josh Sargent up front, like the look of him against Watford. I think he was, and it was also a really interesting one with Josh Sargent, where he can, for Werder Bremen, he played on the right wing, he played in that central attacking midfield role. I honestly think that Sargent and Pukki was the biggest positive to take out of that Watford game. They had a couple of decent moments together, nice link-up play, and I think Sargent could play in that number 10 role, but I want to see what he's like going forward. So that's the team I think Farke will play. A lot of changes, of course, and look, I want to see us play a team that's close to the team we're going to play against Everton, but I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, I hope the 4-3-3 is going to work, but I think fundamentally what Farke needs to do is if he's going to stick with his system, find a way to get a good balance from it, because out of transition, we're hopeless. We need a clear identity in terms of, central defensive midfielder protects the back line, the midfielders, work collectively as a team and make sure we're not caught out in transition. And yeah, that's the main thing I want to see. In terms of a score prediction, I'm going to go with a 2-1 Liverpool. I'm just not feeling too confident after what I've seen so far, but things might change. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to Norwich City Central if you're new. Leave your score predictions, and I'll see you later.